Okay. Okay, so let's see what, we have here for political divisions, right? Sorry, thanks for reminding me, you guys. So our first word is el país, el país. And oh, it's Chile. That's our unit, right? Chile. So when we're talking about Chile, you guys, we are saying that that is the country of Chile, right? That is the political boundary. Somebody over history at some point said, I'm going to draw these lines, right? And this is what is the country of Chile. So, país, el país. Our next one is something called la región. And you're right, it looks like region, okay? La región. Now, we can have on a map the region around, for example, the capital city of Chile, right? This is a particular region. Sometimes, I guess, in the United States, maybe we could say that, Georgia, yes, we call it a state, but we can also say it's like in the southeast region, of the United States. Okay, so that would be like a region, la región. Then, of course, we have la capital, la capital. So what's clase, ¿qué es la capital de Georgia? What's the capital of Georgia? Atlanta, sí. La capital de Georgia es Atlanta, sí, muy bien. Okay, so we have el país, the country, la región, and la capital, okay? And then we have el pueblo. So el pueblo would be a small town, not a city, but a small town outside of the capital, okay? Small town, el pueblo, pueblo. Then we have la provincia, la provincia. So within a region, you might have different provinces, or if we wanted to say, for example, in Georgia itself, we might call a provincia a county. Okay. We do have to keep in mind that some other countries divide their political divisions are different than ours, right? So sometimes it's kind of hard to make those connections, but we can. So provincia is something like a county, okay, for us. Then we have la frontera, and notice it's pointing to this dotted line. And so la frontera is between Chile y Argentina. So what do you think the word frontera means? Yes, it comes from the word frontier, but if we're talking about a political map, how can we make it more specific? It's this line between Chile and Argentina. What's another word for it? Border. There you go. So a good translation for frontera is not only frontier, it's going to depend on how the word is used, of course, but also border. Okay, so the border between Chile and Argentina, right? La frontera entre Chile y Argentina, right? And then we know this word, right? La ciudad, la ciudad. So la ciudad is a city, so a big city. Pueblo is the smaller one. And then on these political maps, you guys can see that they put the dots, there's a symbol for them. So this is going to tell us that this is a ciudad because it's a bigger dot versus el pueblo, a smaller dot. And then a capital is generally noted by a star. Okay. So political divisions on a map. El país, country. La región is like the region around like a certain area. Like, again, for us, it would be, an example would be the southeast of Georgia is in the southeast part of the United States. La capital, our capital city, usually noted by a star. Pueblo, little town, by a small dot. Ciudad, by a big dot, is a city. Frontera is our border. And then provincia is a province, but we would call it more a county. Okay. All right. So that's it, you guys. That's all of our vocab. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, right? No problem. All right. So now let's practice. Practiquemos con los números grandes. Why did they put big numbers here? Well, probably because they're talking about how many miles between one place and another place, right? Yeah. So let me switch my screen up and we'll just review these real quick because you guys are telling me that you've had these before. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. Now, you do have these in your resource library, so don't fear if you need to go look at them. Okay. So real quick, I'm not going to belabor these much, right? So we're going to move quickly on these. So we said, you guys, 100 is 100. Now, I have a question for you. How are we going to remember this? I have a couple of questions for you. How many years in a century? Who can tell me? You can unmute, you guys. How many years in a century? 100. Okay, good. 100. How many pennies in a dollar? How many pennies in a dollar? How many pennies in a dollar? 50 pennies would be 50 cents, right? So how many pennies in a dollar? 100. Muy bien. What's another word for penny in English? Yeah, that's just a generic word for not a paper money, but a coin. But what's another word for penny? Like, we don't say that costs $1.15. We say it costs $1, what, and 15 cents. Very good. This is where we get the word 100 from. Okay, the base word or the root word is cent. Okay, we just made it Spanish. So if there's 100 years, 100 pennies in a dollar, they're called cents. That's why they're called cents, right? If there's 100 years in a century, that's why it's called century, cent. It's the same root, C-E-N-T. In Spanish, it just becomes cien, okay? So if we have two of them, then it becomes dos, and then we have to make it plural, right? Cien becomes cientos to make it plural. If we have two of them, 200, 300, 400. That's easy, right, you guys? Easy enough? All right, this one's a little weird. So let's see how we can remember. 500. 500. All right, I have a quick question. How many, if a woman has 5 babies all at the same time, you know, like twins, but there's 5 of them, what do we call that in English? What do we call them? Like, there's triplets, right? Blah, blah, blah. What if there's 5 of them? Do we know that word? And if
Quintuplets?
Yeah, very good. Well, it's quadruplets if there's 4 of them. If there's 5 of them, it's quintuplets. You ever wonder why we call them quintuplets? right? Quin, Quin. Okay, so same thing. 5 babies. Anything with a 5, quin. Do y'all see the same root here? Quintuplets, quinientos. Okay, right? Yeah, see how we can make these connections? That's lovely. So quinientos, 500, like 5 babies, quintuplets in English, right? Then we have 600, 700, 800, and 900. Okay. All right, then we come over here to 1,000, and we have mil. We don't use metric system in the United States, right? But if we think about a millimeter, right? A millimeter. There's how many millimeters in a meter, right? There's 1,000 of them. The reason why there's 1,000 of them, I mean, millimeter, right? 1,000 of them in a meter, make a meter. So that's where we get it from, mil. Okay. And then it would be similar, right? 2,000, 3,000, et cetera, 2,000, 3,000. And then 10,000, 10,000, 20,000, okay? 100,000, 300,000, for example, 300,000. If it was 400,000, 400,000, right? Okay, so that follows, right? Now, the weird thing about mil is it never becomes plural, as you can see, okay? Like ciento does, or cien becomes ciento. But look at how these are written, these big numbers. Notice that they're not written with a comma. They are written with a period. Okay. So it's written differently than us. If you're ever in a European country or any other part of the planet, okay, these numbers are written with a period, not a comma, the way we do. Okay. And then million is a million. If we had 2 million, it would become plural, 2 millones. Okay, 3 millones for 3 million, right? All right, questions so far? Again, I'm moving quickly because we're going to do this quickly, right? So let's say that we want to say 17,832. Well, first of all, it doesn't look like 17,000 because it's got a period instead of a comma. But let's figure it out. If 17 is 17, and then this is our placeholder, so 17,000, so mil. And then 800, 800, and then 32, 32. Okay, thumbs up if y'all see how this all fits together. Yeah, clase? Okay, perfect. Let's come down here to 512,046. So if it's 512, right, we have to do our 512. So 512,000 by our placeholder, which is our dot, okay, mil. And then 46, 46. So 512,046. Okay. All right. Any questions? Lasse? No questions? Again, I don't want to belabor this point. Okay. All right. Let's just see if we can do some of these though. Okay. Let's start easy. Let's see if we can do 161. Can we do 161? How would we say 161? Anybody willing to either put it in the chat or unmute 161? How would we do it? We do have some cheats over here, by the way. 60. 60. How do we say 60? Anybody remember? It's not just 6, it's going to be 60. Anybody remember 60? sesenta. Sesenta. So what would this be? Liliana, you got an idea? Hill? How would we do it? If 60 is sesenta, it would be what? Generical, how about you? 160, that's it. 161. 161. Very good. Okay. All right, let's try K way down here. 839. How do we do it? 839. $839. I want us to play Jeopardy, so we need to practice these a little. How do we do 839? You can unmute or you can pop it in the chat. 800, you guys, right here, and 39. How do we say 30? So we got to remember these. Very good, Hill. 839. 839. Very good. 839. 839. 39. Muy bien. All right, let's see if we can just challenge ourselves a little bit. And let's go through these. All right, let's do a couple of these big ones. Ooh, you guys, we can do this. We can do this. Let's see. How about we let's just do this first one. So 420,000. Remember, the dot is our placeholder. 110. Let's try it. 420,000. So remember our word down here for thousand. Here's our word for 400. Let's see what we can come up with. Generical, you going to give it a try, Liliana? 420,000. It's kind of hard, right? 420,110. All right, let's see. 420,110. Yay, very good. Very good. So 420,000, right? 420,000 and then 110. Very good. 110. 110. Muy bien. Nicely done. Okay, one more. One more. Like I said, I don't want to belabor this. Okay, let's try H. 514,012. 500. That's the quintuplets one. Liliana, give it a try. Generical, just pop it in the chat. 514,012. Perfect, Hill. Liliana, what do you say? Yeah. Right. Hi, Kenzie. Okay, so let's look at it. Let's take it apart. So yes, 500. And then what's 14? 14, right? So 514. And we have to say 514,000 because that dot, that's what the dot is telling us. So we have to say 514,000, 514 thousand, right? Mil. 12. So let's look at it. 514, 514,000, 1012. It's hard, huh, you guys? That's a mouthful. Yeah, let's do one more just for the fun of it. How about K down here? 821,539. Ooh, let's try it. 821,539. How you doing today, Kinsey? Okay, anybody? Pop it in the chat. 821,539. Just take it bit by bit. Okay, so let's see if you're right. Okay, so we have 800, 800, right? Good to go. 21, 21 or 21. So 821 is 821,000, because that's, again, Kenzie, since you just joined us, they don't use commas, they use a dot. So we got mil, so 821,000, 821,000, 539, 500, 500, like quintuplets, 39, 39. Good job. Fantastic. Hill, you got this. Good job. Okay, so we just have to remember, take it word for word, place point, by place. Is it 100? Is it 1,000? Is it 10,000? Whichever. Okay. All right. Muy bien. All right, let me switch up my screen. Like I said, you guys, this is just, we're not going to drive ourselves crazy trying to do these. Okay. All right. I have a little song for us just to break the monotony with the numbers. So let's make sure we can hear it. Let me get this open. Maybe it's going to open. It's not going to open. Okay, here we go. So let's listen.
It's Basho and Friends. Here we go. Yes, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Yes, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Yes, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Yes, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1000. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1000. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. 10, 20, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1000.
All right. The last thing we're going to do, you guys, about numbers is a little sort of game practice, okay? And I want to go through it fairly quickly because I do want to give you guys time to, if you have any missing assignments or something, I want to give you guys time to do that, okay? Let's see. All right. All righty, there's the link. Here's the code if y'all need it. Okay. Again, this is just meant to be fun. You guys let's just practice them and then and then we'll go on to something else, right? Like I said, this vocab section in your book was pretty short. We just want to make sure we get some practice in. So let me see Liliana and Jynerical and Kinsey, if you want to join in. Come on, you guys, we need to join in. Check the link in your chat. We still have a month of school, you guys. There you go. We need to join in when we can. Kinsey, Jynerical. All right, let's see how we do. Just do your best. It's just practice, right? Well, you guys are doing a great job considering we have only looked at these for 5-10 minutes. You're doing a great job. Keep it up. Don't give up. Give it your best shot. Come on, Liliana, you can catch up. You got a good score there. Kinsey, you got this. Okay, another 2 minutes. Hit it hard. You guys got this. 2 minutes. All right. All right, I think that's our time, you guys. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to end it in 3, 2, 1. All right. See, you know what, you guys? Again, given that we just looked at these and that they're difficult, right? You guys still did better than 50%, which is, I'll take it. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay. Muy bien. So here's what we're going to do. We can, yesterday I had given everybody that little activity to do on los apellidos, on the last names and how they work. Okay. Yes. And so if you didn't finish that, then you can do that today. That was a pretty short and sweet thing. I'm trying to switch up my view here. Give me 1 second. Okay. It's on the very last, and I'll put it up here so y'all can see this. It's in module 8 or unit 8 rather, right? Because we're in Chile. And it's the very last thing in the module, right? So it's los apellidos. How do Hispanic names work? And I would be interested to know if we follow the rules that they talk about here in this. I would be interested to know, what would your last name be, or what would your name be if you did it the way they do it, right? So you might want to take a look at it again and see if you can tell me what would be your name if you did it the Hispanic way, if you did it this Latin way or the Spanish way, whatever. Okay. So see if you can figure it out and then pop it in the chat. You kind of have to know your mother's maiden name, and then how would it fit in your name, right? Does that make sense? Yeah. Your mother's last name and then your father's last name, but then where does it go? Which name comes first? So I would be interested. You could put it in the chat. Okay. So when you're finished with this, you can submit. The other thing that you can be working on is if you have missing assignments in Spanish, in VHL, please get those done so I can help you. Otherwise, if you have something that you need to work on in another class, I am fine with that as well. It's testing week for most students, right? Some of us tested, some of us didn't today, and that's all cool. In here, no, you would complete the whole thing. Yeah, you would just complete this whole thing. And then I would like to know, what would your, I would just be curious, what would your name be if you followed these rules of Hispanic last names? Right? I would be curious. Okay. It's an interesting history to figure out why they do what they do there. Okay. All right. Any questions? So do they put, so my question would be, do they put the dad's name first or the mom's name first? Hill, did you read through that? Does that make sense? Like Garcia means bear, the animal, or Lopez meant wolf, like Lobo, Lopez meant wolf. So it's kind of an interesting thing. So once again, you guys, you can work on this. You can work on assignments for Spanish, or you can work on any assignment in any other class, right? So Hill, I'm gonna just put it in the chat here real quick. You see my chat to you? Okay, so according to the Spanish way of doing things, right? Your name would be that. Oops, I'm sorry, I misspelled that. Right? That's how it would go. Your mom's name would be the second name, the second surname or the second last name. And so, yeah. So that's what people so when they come to the United States and we don't have that practice, a lot of people, what we find, a lot of people are using their mother's last name. And they're kind of, they end up getting not stuck with, but that's what they end up having to use because we don't do that with two names. Does that make sense? Right? Yeah. Liliana. Yeah. So that's why it's an interesting read. I would recommend that you guys get this done maybe before you leave today. And doesn't have to be real formal answers or anything. You can just copy and paste if you need. Or like I said, if you have work for another class that you need to complete, then you can do that. Yes. So Liliana, what is your mom's maiden name? You can put it in the chat. You don't have to tell me out loud. What's your mom's maiden name? Yeah, before she was, yes, her last name before she was married or before she ever changed it or whatever. Okay, so if you follow the Hispanic or the Latin tradition on last names, right? your name would be that. Right? Did you see it? I shouldn't have put it in everybody, but yeah. Were you able to see it? There you go. Yeah. So if you followed the Hispanic tradition, that's what it would be. Which again, you guys, is kind of one of the things if we while we're talking about political divisions, that's part of our vocab, right? That's kind of one of the things that makes it difficult. So for example, right? If you have an immigrant coming into the country and they fill out their paperwork the way they do their name, right? It can be hard to trace them, or it can be hard to link them. Or if they say, like, when they fill out papers in this country, well, what is your dad's name? What was your mom's name? Like when they go to the doctor and stuff, what was your dad's name? What's your mom's name? What is, if they apply for, filling out paperwork, official paperwork for whatever, then it gets confusing because, well, how is this your last name then? That's your mom's name, or, blah, 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 whatever. And then somebody will change it administratively or whatever. And so, to fill in the boxes correctly. And so sometimes it's hard to keep track of people because their names are different, right? Yeah. And it's the same thing for if you come from a country that uses a different alphabet, let's say, for example, Arabic, because then we're talking about transliteration is what it's called, which means we can spell it any which way we want because the alphabet, the letters are different. And so it's easy to have a name spelled incorrectly, right? A good example would be the name, let's say Muhammad, right? You can spell it M-O-H, Mohammed. You can spell it with two M's. You can spell it with one M for the Mohammed, the mid part, the last part of it. You can also spell it M-U, Muhammad, M-U-H-A, so you can spell them all different with one M at the end, right? And so because we can spell them all different kind of ways, since it's not written in our alphabet, it's hard to keep track. It's hard to, when it comes to like passport agencies and, things like that, it's hard to know what their real name is. Okay. So it's an important thing, administratively, right? Okay, so we have a few minutes left. Before you leave today, please make sure, and I know some of you are all done with everything. Please make sure that you're caught up in VHL, that you have all the Canvas assignments done, anything that's in there. Yes, sir. Okay, you guys, we have about a minute left. So finish up whatever you're working on. Go ahead and submit anything. Right? Y nos vemos lunes. Isn't that right, clase? See you Monday. Monday, we're gonna try to finish up this whole Unit 8 thing, okay? We're gonna start on that on Monday, so be on time and we can finish the year strong, okay? All right, you guys. Adios a todos. Have a great weekend. Nos vemos lunes. See you Monday. See you Monday. Adios.